I'm connected within. Within me is access and an open portal or portals of connection to everywhere. So I am connected to creation. I feel and sense creation at times. I feel the draw of creation at times to bring sonship into creation, and all of the realms of the spirit right into the realm of eternity, and the Father connected to God there is just connected within me. And it is just a matter of choice to engage it. But I feel less need to engage it cognitively than I used to, because now I'm realizing that I am resident in those places all the time, and all the things that I learned to do over years and years and years, I am doing constantly all the time, because there is no real time in that sense, in the same framework of, well, there are minutes and seconds and minutes and hours and days that are passing here. That is the physical function of time that is a factor of the fact that we're revolving around the sun, and the moon's revolving around us, and all the planets are revolving around the sun, and we're in this sort of motion, which we break up into, years and months and days and weeks and all of that type of time frame. Whereas I don't think we have to think in the spirit, we're not operating in that time frame. I think there is still created time, or an awareness of passage, if you like. It's not all, if we just all lived in eternity, it would all be now and there would be no passage. And therefore, but we're still living in a created universe, and all of the spiritual realms are still created. And I believe they are created with some sense of progression or increase, no end to the increase of his government and peace. So there is a sort of a time perspective, but it's not natural time as in the function of years and months and weeks and days and hours and seconds and minutes and all that. But there is still a sort of sense of progression, and there's still things. But you can live in a quantum moment and it not be linked to time and progression. So I might be let's say I'm in 8 different distinct perspectives from the heavenly realms and dimensional realms and all the things. And within each of those, I might be in, let's say, 10, 12 different locations that I've been to. And in each of those locations, I'm doing something, but I'm doing it simultaneously without the sense of, well, I'm linearly doing this. I am doing all of it. And therefore, I could be in hundreds of different places doing hundreds of different things, all at the same sort of synchronized way, simultaneously, but without me being aware of a passage of any time in it, because that's my state of being rather than my state of doing. I am functioning. And it's also like I learned that time is my friend. And time as a being is there to help me navigate all of this sort of quantum, non-linear, multi-dimensional perspective to reality. And time helped me to see that I am not limited or restricted by my understanding of a time frame, and that one moment can be every moment. Hence, I remember God sort of giving me some missions or things to do, mandates, particularly to do with restoring beings and things. And, being aware that this would take months of my time, and probably I would have to be focused within those months a lot. And therefore, I didn't have months of time to give to doing this in that way. So I engaged with the desire that the Father had shown me and expanded the moment that I was in, outworked all the months of stuff that I was led to do, and then contracted back to that moment and was aware of what I'd done, but it was only at that moment that just passed. Now that moment was expanded to months and contracted back to the moment. And I still remained and still had the memory of what had happened in that expanded moment. But I didn't have to do it in normal months of time, which I would have thought I would have had to done before. So I learned how to cooperate and work with time in a way which brought about a different way of being and a reality, which enabled me to expand that conscious awareness and that conscious state to multi-dimensional reality and no limitations. You know, there's limitless grace and limitless empowerment to prosper and succeed and fulfill whatever God has within my destiny to fulfill, without me being 24 hours a day trying to fit it all in. You know, all that I fit into this sort of dimension, you know, is the time I spend with people, which is normal time frame, because it would be really difficult to engage in a different reality time frame if anyone else couldn't. You know, so you're sort of, you know, engaging in a way, in a sort of normal, natural way, because that's what enables everyone to engage it. If I need to do something beyond the time that I actually have physically, then I know how to manage time to enable me to have everything I need, you know, all that I need at all times and purposes for everything that I'm mandated to do. And I think the key in it is we only do what we see the Father doing. So we only really need to be aware of what the Father is consciously revealing to us. Everything else, I think, is a subconscious level, at a spiritual level of heart to heart, mind to mind, you know, with him, that just we then outwork his heart all the time without having to even consider it once we live in that state of being. You know, so it is a different, completely different way. It's a different reality. You know, I'm able to engage my mind in all different levels of wavelengths of function without having to be aware of them. So I can operate in alpha and beta and theta and delta and gamma waves, that my brain has access to all of these perspectives, but I'm only really aware of the beta in normal everyday life. But I am benefiting from the flow of alpha waves and the flow of theta waves and the flow of spiritual instinct and understanding and everything. But I don't have to sit there and think, oh, try and work it all out. It's just how I live, which is such a joy. You know, it's such a joy. And I thank God that he took me through the pathway of teaching me all the things I now know, so that I can be in that state, you know, and enjoy life in a totally different way than I was doing before, really.